Hi, this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is the Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast. We always bring up all of the future spoilers.
Yeah.
And we definitely will be today.
Yeah. This week we're talking about season 2, episode 16, The House Guest. This is where Katherine is the unwanted house guest. And there's actually another little house guest that's little Luca. That doesn't really end all that well for that house guest. So, yeah, this is a good episode, though.
Yeah, I feel like this is sort of a change episode. It's like such a marker of like plot switching, you know? Like obviously the last one, Elijah got daggered, and that's a huge change. Like that's definitely something that's going to completely affect the storyline. Yeah. And in this one, it also is where it's like, you know, they're changing from the Elijah witch storyline and officially like flipping the script into like what the rest of the last bit of the season is going to be. Yeah.
Figuring out how to stop this. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So this will be the last struggle of Team Elijah. So let's just jump right into it, which is Stefan and Elena, they finally made it home from the lake house, apparently.
Yep.
Which I guess we saw at the end of the last one. They brought Elijah's body back.
So that was the end
of the lake house trip. But Elena comes in from the bathroom from like Stefan's room, and she's telling Stefan that they're late for school, and they like are getting all flirty, and he ends up kissing her and dragging her back into bed instead of going to school. She's like, remember school, that thing we like are supposed to go to? Glad we're acknowledging.
I haven't been to school in a minute. Yeah, it's been a long time.
So cut to downstairs. Elena, quote unquote, is dressed. She's putting on her coat. Damon is reading one of those John Gilbert journals from like the last episode. And she says good morning to him. And Damon kind of looks at her, and then he gets up and attacks her.
Yeah,
and, like,
vamp speeds over.
Yeah, pushes her up against the wall and is like choking her. And like he's saying, you know, like you think you can play it being Katherine, or like you think if you wear her clothes. Yep. Meaning Elena. And it's so confusing. I'm just going to say Katherine.
Yeah.
Katherine is like, you think I'm Katherine? Like, isn't she in the tomb? Like, why would Katherine be in the tomb?
Perfectly playing dumb.
Yeah, and Stefan comes running downstairs to check what's going on. And he asks, like, what's going on? But obviously he sees, like, who presumably looks like Elena, straight hair, Elena clothing and all, being choked by Damon. And, quickly concludes that this must mean Katherine is out. So Stefan runs back upstairs and immediately attacks actual Elena, pushing her into a wall and choking her. Usual Stefan, as we always say, coming in way too hot. He literally choked out actual Elena. And, he's saying, like, stop it, Katherine. And then from the doorway, actual Katherine says, stop what? And then she says, it's getting really easy being you, to Elena. Clearly kicking off the doppelganger hijinks as we've experienced previously.
I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before with like Katherine playing Elena. Once again, Damon always knows when it's Katherine. Like he did eventually doubt himself because Katherine was playing dumb and pretending to be Elena. But he knew it first, and Stefan was the one who like doubted himself and went to go choke out Elena. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
That was so interesting too. That Damon immediately like clocked that it was Katherine and attacked her, and didn't doubt until she really like laid it on thick. And Stefan came down and almost like confirmed it. But Stefan went upstairs and started choking the person he's been making out with all morning.
That's what I'm saying. He spent all morning with Elena. And he was like, "Oh, it must have been Katherine."
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, like wouldn't they have presumably woke up together?
Yeah, they must have been together like all morning. Like, I guess Katherine could have replaced her like in the bathroom just now or something. But I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that he doubts himself in that. But it also just speaks to the fact that Katherine, like she said, is actually just getting very good at this.
She is.
And it's interesting that they choose to focus on like Elena in that moment. They do like a real close up of her face, like looking very angry at Katherine. Because obviously it affects everyone. Stefan just choked her out. But like, I don't know. It's interesting to focus on like Elena's reaction to that, I think. Cut to a little bit later after the intro card pops up. Damon, Katherine, Elena, and Stefan are all like in his room, and Damon is explaining that killing Elijah broke the compulsion, which set, Katherine free. That's why she's there. And Elena says, "I don't want you here. Get her out of here," which I did not love that line. Producer Shay and I watched it. We like kind of like laughed. We were like, that comes off like very weirdly entitled. Like, I don't know. It's a fair thing to say because it's how everyone's feeling. But something about the vibes of Elena towards Katherine in this episode, I was like, it's going on for the Elena haters list. Something is coming off very weirdly, like, self-focused in this situation.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too. I was like, I don't really love Elena that much in this episode. Yeah, and her I get that she has no reason to like Katherine.
Yeah.
Because Katherine obviously has been antagonizing her for like 2 seasons now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Something about her being like, I don't want her here. Like,
yeah, it was the turning to Stefan and being like, get her out of here too. That was just like, Elena, nobody wants her here. Like,
yeah,
they would get her out of here if they could, I guess. But like, I don't know. It's just so. It's a weird way to position Elena in this episode, to have her being so like outwardly like hateful and also being like, I don't know, bossy and like self-focused on her feelings towards Katherine in this situation. It's so counter to most of her character.
Yeah, I guess that's probably a lot of it. It feels like it almost just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's a little out of character for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everyone's being sassy about Katherine, like not wanting her there. And she's also being sassy about offering like help to them and saying that she's there to help. And so she threatens like, oh, well, then you want me to leave, I'll just go get lunch with Jenna. So yeah, it's always, it's always the games with them.
Yep.
Also, it's always got to be Jenna that everyone throws
or
into the
Jenna.
mix.
Yeah.
It's always about Jenna.
Yeah. She's the one that just never knows.
Yeah. Always out of the loop.
Yeah.
Someone else who's always out of the loop, actually, perfect segue, is at the school, Caroline comes up to Matt, saying hi to him. Like, he's hanging up posters for the grill promoting that they're having a live band tonight. And he says they're having it because business is slow at the grill.
How? Every single person
is always there.
It's always there.
But also, business is a little slow because no out-of-towners are coming anymore. Why would you come to this town where everyone keeps dying?
True.
That's my theory.
Yeah, that's so true. 12 people died the other day when we were talking about Andy reporting it. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I didn't live in this town, I would not be going there. I'd be like, we're not driving 20 minutes to go to the grill anymore because we would literally die. So
no, absolutely not.
A band's not going to help. So they end up talking about Tyler and how they haven't seen him. Matt mentions that he stopped by the grill and Caroline's like really surprised. And Matt says it was like to say goodbye without actually saying goodbye. Because, nobody's seen him. He clearly left town. And Matt ends up telling Caroline that it's her move, like in terms of their relationship, that like, whatever's going to happen next with them, it's Caroline's choice at this point. Like he has expressed how he feels and where he's at in terms of their relationship. And she's the one that seems to be like hesitating, at a loss for words.
Yeah.
And so she either needs to make a decision or leave him alone is what he says to her. So the ultimatum from Matt. You hate to be in that position.
Yeah, you hate to have Matt Donovan giving you an ultimatum.
Yeah.
Yeah, laying down the law. Also outside, laying down the law. Walking into school, Elena and Stefan. Elena is very much like, I don't want Katherine here, blah, blah, blah. They're just arguing about Katherine.
Yeah.
And Stefan says, like, Katherine might have a good point. Like, she is the only one who knows what Klaus looks like. Yeah. They have no idea. Like, they don't know anything about him. But Katherine does kind of have some knowledge in this situation. Like, she could be helpful. And Elena basically just says, like, sure, but that doesn't mean I want her to, like, stay over at your house. Which, that, I think, was where I was like, this is, like, a weirdly entitled. Yeah. I mean, she does basically live there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was just odd. So Elena doesn't want Katherine to stay at the Salvatore house. And Stefan offers to stay instead at Elena's house tonight. But Elena says, you can't. We're having a girls' night. Like, Katherine's freaking out about Matt. Bonnie's all upset she lost her witch powers. So we're having a girls' night. And she says, maybe Katherine can join us.
I loved that maybe Katherine can join us. It was like, that's my dream girls' night. Bonnie, Caroline, Katherine, and Elena. Like, come on.
Imagine the shenanigans they could
It'd be so good. The fighting.
They'd be doing, like, light as a feather, stiff as a board, and Katherine would be, like, flipping Elena.
I was going to say, she'd chuck someone into the ceiling. Oh, my God. That's my dream headcanon moment.
Yeah. That'd be fun.
God, love it. So back to the Salvatore house. The Salvatore brothers and their flamethrowers, if they can get their hands on a flamethrower, they do.
Yeah, well, I think this is the one they got from the wolves. They must have taken it. Yeah.
They probably did. Yeah, so Damon is in the cellar. He's got the flamethrower, and he's just hanging out, burning Elijah's body to a crisp, as you do when you don't have a job or school. I guess this is what you do on the weekdays. You just burn bodies. Yeah. So Katherine comes in, and she says that he's wasting his time. Like, Elijah is indestructible. And she knows this because she spent 500 years running from the originals. Like, of course, she's learned everything she possibly could about them, and including, the fact that, like, their bodies aren't just going to be burnt to a crisp and die.
Yeah.
So Damon asks if, like, she knew that Damon would die when he used the dagger, was going to use the dagger on Elijah in the last episode. And Katherine deflects, like, asking if he knows Elijah's plans, if they figured out how Elijah was going to kill Klaus. And you know, they're doing the whole dance of like we always talk about, lies and secrets and evading and not telling each other, you know, the truth. And Damon like threatens her with the flamethrower. Like he points it at her because she's like, why didn't you kick me out? And so he points the flamethrower at her. And she's like, whoa, Damon, like, you need me. Yeah. And she gives, like, a whole little speech about how, you know, she wants Klaus just as dead as they do, more even. And, you know, like, again, like, kind of like what Stefan was saying about how she can be this huge asset for them. Like, you know, she goes on to say, one of my favorite Katherine lines, like, you can hate me, but we want the same thing. And you know, I always get what I want.
I love that line. That was iconic. I was
Icon,
like, she does. She does.
Yeah, icon, legend, star. Yeah, because she goes on to say, she's like, I want it out of the tomb. I'm out of the tomb. And she says, I didn't care who paid the price. Yeah. Saying, like, if Damon died to get her out, she was okay with that.
Yeah, yeah. She knew. We all knew she knew. But, yeah, she confirms for Damon in this moment that she knew.
Yeah, she does give the official confirmation. But also there will be more to say about that later. So we'll round back around to Damon and Katherine in this one.
Yeah. In the meantime, back at the school, Stefan is warning Bonnie and Jeremy about Katherine, saying she's getting a little too good at impersonating Elena, which thank God he's letting them know. But doesn't this make you think everyone who knows Elena should know?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. I have many more tangents to go on, so I'll keep it at that for now. But yeah, Stefan, you know, kind of pivots from this and says, now that Elijah's out of the picture, we need to get the Martins on our side. Yeah. Like, he's very much like, we need to get Jonas and Luca on our side. Bonnie tells Stefan there is no way, it's not going to happen. And Stefan basically is just like, make it happen, and leaves.
Yeah. Well, I really like the thing he says to her here, because of course it ends up coming true. He says to Bonnie, like, it's either we win them over or someone's going to end up dead. Yeah. Like, it's a very intuitive thing, I think, for Stefan to pick up on, because that's clearly where this is going. And, like, obviously they don't know that what's going to happen is what happens, but, like, it could have easily been Jeremy or Bonnie or anybody else dying too. But, like, there was just, the path they're on and are going to stay on is that someone's going to die. And Stefan knows that. So Bonnie does end up, like, agreeing, like, I'll see what I can do. Yeah. So he walks away, leaving Jeremy and Bonnie at the Lackers so she can dodge a kiss.
Yeah. Jeremy, like, tries to kiss Bonnie before they go their separate ways to class, but Bonnie, like, laughs in his face a little bit, and she sort of says, like, you know, or Jeremy says, Elena's not around, like, we can kiss, it's okay. And then they do kind of have, like, a little kiss before they...
quick kiss. And she promises, like, to tell Elena soon. Like, you know, she has to tell her before they can go any further.
Yes, of course.
And I respect Bonnie for that. I feel like this is...
Same.
Girl code, that is very valid. You have to tell your best friend you're dating her brother before, like, anything really can happen.
Absolutely.
So... Yeah. They're gonna see what they can do about that. Meanwhile, seeing what they can do about other things is in Alaric's classroom. We finally get the much needed discussion.
Thank God.
Between Alaric and Elena about what they're gonna tell Jenna, and, like, what the Jenna conversation. Mm-hmm. You know, Jenna doesn't know anything, and it's like spiraling about it. She's freaking out. So it's just getting, you know, ridiculous there, because they're talking about John and how John is, like, planting, like, you know, that Alaric is lying, and that like, John has the Gilbert ring now, so even if they try to kill him, they can't. Like,
because Elena says, he's gonna end up on the kitchen floor dead if he's not careful.
Yeah, which I'm like, is she gonna get, like, who?
I was like, is Elena gonna kill her?
Yeah, I didn't know where that was going.
No, I thought also it's just a funny line for Elena. Like,
and the way she delivered it too, I was like, very Katherine. You know, I think sometimes people might chalk those up to, like, the acting mistakes of, like, blurring the characters, but I think Elena just is really very similar to Katherine, and that Nina plays that very well.
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
So anyway, you know, Alaric says, like, I don't know how much longer Jenna can stay in the dark, and Elena is like, you think we should tell her then? And, you know, I'm really glad that in this moment Alaric does explicitly tell Elena, like, I can't be with Jenna, like, anymore with all of these secrets. Like, it's not the relationship that I want to have.
Exactly.
It's not, like, it's just not the way that we can continue. So, like, as long as she doesn't know, like, I have to be done with her. And, like, he does say to Elena that, like, it's her decision ultimately to make. Like, he feels bad. He's like, I feel bad putting this on you, but, like, it is your decision, and, like, I'll respect whatever you choose. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm like, I really I respect Alaric in that. I think.
Yeah, I do too. I think Alaric is in the right, and this is I think he's right. He can't keep doing this relationship like this. No. And then Elena goes on to point out, like Elena literally says, not to mention, it's getting more dangerous for her to not know.
I know.
And then she kind of like justifies it and says, you know, I thought we would have had Klaus dealt with by the time we had to tell her. And then, you know, then she kind of just goes off on a tangent. She's like, how do you even tell someone what we know? Like, how does someone hear that?
Girl, you've been told. Like,
girl, you've been told. You told Jeremy. Caroline,
you told
Bonnie. You've told Tyler. Like, he got on the same. I mean, granted, most of these people, like, kind of stumbled into knowing and then had to be filled in.
Yeah, and they got, like, involved on their own right in a way. But also, yeah, it's like, you've been through this. This isn't the first person you're telling. Just like it's ridiculous. They drag this plot out way too much. I know. And like honestly, after this conversation, those two are sick for not telling her. Yeah. Not Elias so much because he does have to break up with her basically because of this. Yeah. But Elena, I'm like, girl, Jenna like, stumbled onto half of it anyway. So like, I don't know. At this point, it's just sick of Elena to not tell her. And it just gets continually like ridiculous. By the end of this episode, it's like unacceptable.
Yeah. No, there are so many points like throughout the episode where I'm like, this is your window. Tell her.
I was screaming at the TV during this episode. I was like, Elena, this is getting ridiculous. So anyway.
More on that later.
This is going to be like the rest of the episode. So if you're not into the Team Jenna, it's the rest of the episode. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, back to the Martins. We go to the grill where Bonnie and Stefan have called them to meet. Who set this up? How did this happen? I'm so confused. But anyway, Luca and Jonas have come to meet with Bonnie and Stefan. And Stefan reveals that Elijah is dead. You know, they daggered him. Mm-hmm. And Jonas tries to leave, like, immediately. But Stefan convinces him to sit down and talk. And, you know, saying that they can all work together to kill Klaus. And, like, he's just giving the spiel about how, like, we all want the same thing. We'll help you get your daughter back. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Stefan and team, I think, are very dumb for this. Like, thinking that the Martins, like, would just switch sides. And also that they already know that the plan that they had involved Elena having to die in the sacrifice in order for Klaus to be at his weakest. So why would they think they'd just be like, sure, we can come up with a different plan so your friend doesn't die? Like, no. It's such a weird thing to me.
No, this makes no sense. And also, I mean, we don't really know, and they also don't really know, like, how close was Dr. Martin with Elijah? They could have been besties. They could have been old besties. They could have been old besties. And you're just going to go tell him, like, hey, we killed this guy. Yeah, what are they thinking? I don't know. I feel like this is
sense. It's just like wishful thinking that it's like you must be in the same position as us, that Elijah's making your life like terrible. But it's like, no, they love working with Elijah. He's the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well for them then. Yeah. At the Salvatore house, another pair trying to be a team here. One of them trying to be. Sort of. Damon is going through the dozens of Gilbert journals still. Mm-hmm. And Katherine shows up to pester him, saying, like, she wants to help. Because he's, like, got a huge box, and he's kind of, like, sorting them. He's kind of saying numbers to himself, like he's trying to figure out, like, the dates and put them in timeline order. And I just love this Katherine Damon moment. She starts trying to, like, reach for a journal, and he, like, smacks her hand away, and she smacks his hand, and they kind of go back and forth for a second. Yeah. And then he, like, pushes her, like, they chase each other, I don't know how, vamp speed, to the piano, where he, like, pins her to the bench, and she says that she's glad he isn't dead. They have, like, a whole little moment in a way.
She's always laying it on thick.
Always flirting.
Yeah. Also, I noticed in this, I'm pretty sure Katherine and Elena are wearing the exact same, like, pale purple cami. Like, even they were wearing, it looked like different outfits earlier when Katherine did the whole pretending to be Elena thing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same camisole they have on.
It's interesting.
It's like pale purple and like kind of like a lace edge.
Yeah.
If not,
I'm sure I wonder if she must be dipping into Elena's wardrobe or what she's doing, but she's trying to dress like, because she's still got the straightened hair too. So like she's still definitely trying to look like Elena.
Yeah. I thought that was just an interesting choice.
It is interesting.
Still wearing this.
Yes. Staying in the Elena fit just in case. So anyway, Damon and Katherine are continuing to talk, and Katherine gives us, like, I feel like it's an audience info dump where, like, she's kind of talking about how, like, you know, oh, well, when witches die violently on a spot, like, the place is marked by the magic, and it leaves, like, mystical energy. It's definitely, like, an audience info dump. Of, like,
we need to know.
This is why we need to know where the witches are buried, because that place is going to, like, harness a lot of magic for somebody to be able to use. Yeah. During this discussion, Stefan shows up, and he reveals that the Martins' plan wasn't to use, like, a weapon or something. It was to channel, like, witch power. And so now they just need to find that massacre spot in order to, like, use that power, in order to channel it to kill Klaus.
Yeah. Yeah, they sort of put together that this is why they need to find this massacre spot. But yeah, but we see back at the Martins' apartment, Luca is asking Jonas, like, what if they find the burial ground? And Jonas is like, they won't. We've been looking for weeks. There's no way those buffoons are going to find it.
Which killed me. I was like, yes, these people who have lived here for centuries and have endless records and connections in this town aren't going to find something that you just randomly have showed up to look for.
Yeah, like, Jenna was the one that was going to help Elijah find it. So, like, what are they thinking? They're never going to find this spot. Yeah. Damon and Stefan, I mean, I guess they weren't alive during, like, the original witch burning. Yeah. But they've lived here since, well, not consistently, but they've lived here since 1864. Yeah. What?
And they have records dating back farther than that. They have, they're part of the historical society. Like, it is so stupid. They find it in 24 hours. Let's be real. Like,
they find it in no time. Yeah.
So, they're crazy for thinking that. But either way, Dr. Martin kind of doesn't want to take the risk, I feel, because he's like, they won't find it because they've been trying for weeks. But he's also like, I don't think the Salvatores should get away, like, with what they've been doing. They're not our way to get Greta back anyway, his daughter. And so then, they say, like, Elijah needs to deal with them because he says someone needs to deal with them. He's like, I'm going to make Elijah do it.
Yeah. Well, Luca asks, are you going to kill them? And Jonas is like, Elijah's going to. So teeing up what's going to happen next.
Yeah, aka time to get Elijah back.
Yeah, exactly. But at the Gilbert residence, the girls are having their little girls' night.
We love girls' night.
Yeah, they're talking about what food they're going to order. They're going to order, like, pizza or Chinese. And Caroline has world's biggest tablet. I was like,
I know.
Where did this come from?
I was like, we need more girls' night. Love that. We need less huge AT&T tablet product placement.
Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah. Also, I'm shocked they didn't give this to Jeremy.
Yes.
Caroline
it's Jeremy. It's always Caroline and Jeremy, though, with either Bing and Ford Focuses.
Oh, my God. The Ford Focus. That kills me.
But, yeah, she's got this huge iPad, basically, and she's got, like, the background is her and Matt at the parade from the finale.
Yeah, and she sort of, like, looks at the tablet, like, the background of her and Matt, and she's obviously, like, pauses, and she's just kind of, like, upset about it. And so Bonnie's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Which, first of all, girl, just change the background.
Yeah, just open the app, stop looking at it. Like,
I don't know. It was weird. It was just a weird choice. And then, also, Bonnie does take it, and she starts searching, and I just wanted to call out, the pizza place they're going to order from is called Mystic Marinara.
Oh, my God. I love that. I read Mystic.
Amazing.
I didn't see the second name.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure it was Mystic Marinara, and I was like, that's an amazing name.
That's a great name.
So good. They should have pulled that. Like, they should have found a way to use that as a location at some point.
Yeah, that's really good.
But yeah, I love that. I thought that was, like, a good little detail. But anyway, the girls are ordering pizza. They talk about Dr. Martin for a hot sec, and then they kind of move to picking a movie.
Yeah.
The Notebook.
Just girly things.
Yeah, just girly things, literally, because The Notebook is thrown out as an option. Yeah. And they mention that Caroline has seen it a bunch of times, which I also thought was a really good reference because Caroline and Matt had, like, the Notebook moment in season 1.
That's true.
Where she, like, got out at the light.
No wonder she's obsessed with him. She's like dying.
Yeah, exactly. Very cute. There were a lot of good, like, little details in this scene, that being one of them. And Jenna walks in at this point, and it's a little bit weird. Elena, like...
Yeah, well, because Elena kind of asks, like, something about Alaric, and Jenna's like, oh, well, you heard about my fight with Alaric then?
Yeah.
And they start talking about it, and they get further into it, because Jenna, like... They welcome her into girls' night. She's a girl. She can join girls' night. And she starts, like, venting about Alaric. And, again, it's so weird because everyone in this room knows. Yeah. Because she's, like, saying how, like, Alaric is keeping all these secrets. And everyone in this room knows what all the secrets are and, like, what's exactly being hidden from her. So it's just very awkward.
Yeah. It's also weird to me that, I don't know, Alaric heard this story... Elena heard this story from Alaric. Like,
yeah, and then Jenna's just like, oh, you heard about it. It's like, wouldn't you be like, why is your teacher telling you about my dating life?
It's just very weird. And I know he obviously has a close relationship with them, which is good. But, like,
well, and I think
it's just weird.
I think it's okay that he told her because it's directly because of Elena, basically, and that he's keeping the secret from her. But in terms of Jenna, I would be like, why did he tell you that? Like, that's not normal.
Yeah, from Jenna's perspective, it's so weird.
Yes, but she just moves on. And she says, like, he's hiding something about Isobel.
Yeah.
And it's just awkward. Caroline says to play devil's advocate, which I was like, she's so Libra. I love her. That's so me. I'm always like, let's look at this from the other side. Oh my God, so she says, like, maybe Alaric has, like, a good reason for keeping the secret. Like, maybe he's trying to protect you. And Jenna's like, but I still deserve the truth. Like, everybody deserves the truth. And, like, it isn't actually that complicated. Like, if you care about somebody, you should tell them the truth of things.
Yeah.
So, again, obviously so awkward. The girls are, like, heavily exchanging looks now because, like, what Jenna's saying is basically speaking to the exact question that Elena has been wondering. Because, obviously, like, this is not about Alaric at all. This is about Elena.
Yep.
So, yes. So, it's a big awkward moment. And in the end, they start talking back to girls' night things. And they make the big, huge, like, wild, crazy decision to go to the grill. Oh, my God. How unique for girls' night. We're going to go to the place we always are.
Which, two things on this. One, they go there to dance. I'm pretty sure not a single person is dancing when they show up.
No, everyone's just standing there watching.
It's like a live music performance. There's not, like, a ton of dancing. Yeah, people are just watching. And then also, it's like, girl, don't go dancing. Elena, sit her ass down and tell her right now.
Tell Bonnie and Caroline to go, and you need to quit girls' night.
I mean, and this would be awkward because it would be uncomfortable that Bonnie and Caroline already know, but they can all tell her. It can be
okay, well, that's what I was going to say, is it wouldn't even be that weird just because of the fact that, like, if I were Jenna, I would need some sort of proof, and, like, Elena can't really offer any proof. Bonnie, float a feather. Caroline, vamp face. You know, like, I feel like there's a way for them to be there for that and then leave. And let Jenna and Elena have some privacy, like, to settle with it.
Agreed.
Yeah, like, don't tell the Isobel thing in front of them.
Yeah, that doesn't need to be discussed.
That's too far. But at least tell the vampire world thing first.
Which doesn't really, like, it'll be shocking, but it's not, like, about, like, Jenna's relationship with Alaric. It's not, like, this huge personal.
That should be, like, personal. But anyway, it's just such an odd thing, this whole girls' night thing. I like it, but it's just so veiled in all of these problems and truths and secrets and lies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't love that as much.
Yeah, if people were being truthful here, this would be a little bit more enjoyable, but.
Yeah, it definitely would. Yeah. Speaking of enjoyable, could be.
Yeah.
The Martins are at their apartment getting ready to do a spell to get Elijah back. Luca has been nominated by the team to go in because Jonas is the only one, like, strong enough with his magic to be able to basically astral project Luca. They never put a name as to what they're doing, but it, to me, reads as astral projection.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to think of in the last episode. I was like, what is that called? Astral projection.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what it is. They do it in Legacies quite a bit, I think. So
it happens once in Originals.
Does it? They don't utilize it a lot in Vampire Diaries or Originals, so it's really cool when it happens. I love any new witch power introduction kind of thing. They don't do a lot of cool new things. Like we've talked about, like we're only at, like, amateur witch level, basically.
Exactly. Jonas is, like, the first person who has
real magic.
Real magic, yeah.
Which even in this, like they said, like, Luca's not strong enough to send Jonas, but like, he can send Luca. So we see Luca in the Salvatore house, like, watching Damon and Katherine, who he thinks is Elena, sitting on the couch reading. They don't see him. They kind of, like, look around in a weird way where it's like they can probably somehow, like, sense, like, feel, like, I feel like it's probably like that feeling where you're like, it feels like someone's, like, watching me. Like, it feels like someone's there.
It's just like a little,
but they just look around. They don't see anything, and they go back to what they're doing. And Luca goes off to go, like, explore the house. And so then, you know, we stay with Katherine and Damon, and Katherine's, like, she gets bored, so she gets up to read over Damon's shoulder instead of reading her book. And, you know, she's usual Katherine, trying to be, like, flirty and, like, get in his face about it and stuff. And they're talking about the founding families, and the book that Damon has in front of him says that the founding families killed Emily, where the ancestors, her ancestors, the witches, were burned centuries before. Giving them the answer of, like, if we know where Emily died, that's where all of the witches were burned. Like, that's the spot we're looking for, which, first of all, dial it back here. The founders are so messed up for taking Emily.
Sick.
They killed her in the spot where her ancestors died centuries ago. Why'd they have to do that? Why did they couldn't just hang her in the town square like they probably did to, like, anyone else that was getting like put to death. Like they had to.
No, it's so messed
up. They had
to
burn her at the stake just like they did to her ancestors. Like what?
Yeah.
Why?
Founding families. They deserve to be haunted by Stefan.
Yeah, they do deserve to be haunted. Building trauma for everyone.
Yeah, truly.
So Damon and Katherine are like, oh, we're getting nowhere with this, whatever. Katherine says she's hungry, and Damon's like, you know where the food is or whatever.
Yeah.
So Katherine goes downstairs to the blood cooler to go get a blood bag. And when she's down there, we see astral Luca is like watching her. He's hanging out. And again, she kind of seems to be able to like sense him. Like she starts looking around again, but obviously doesn't see anything. And we see upstairs, Stefan arrives, and he goes over to ask Damon if he's found anything. And Damon says no, but he nods his head. So clearly they're, like, playing a game because Katherine obviously, like, could be anywhere and could hear them. Yeah. So they're trying to, like, whisper to each other. So Damon hands the journal to Stefan. He, like, reads it over.
Yeah. And Damon, like, points to the passage. Yeah.
Yeah, and he starts playing along, like, being like, oh, that's too bad. Like, wow, like, bummer.
Yeah.
Downstairs, we see Katherine. She kind of goes to check on Elijah's body. So she, like, looks in the cellar and is looking around. And she goes to leave. And then just as she, like, kind of goes to leave, astral Luca starts lifting the dagger up slowly out of Elijah. Katherine obviously turns around, sees it, and, like, jumps to stop and, like, push it back in. I gotta say, why would Luca not wait for Katherine to fully have left the room? If he gave it 30 seconds, he could have... Well,
the only thing I could think that would sort of justify this, because I had that same thought too. The only thought I had was, he thinks it's Elena at this point. So realistically, like, did he think she was going to hear?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because Katherine comes back. She's basically gone. She hears the dagger, is the way I read it. She hears it being removed, and that's why she comes back. So, like, maybe he thinks that. But overall, I had the same thought. Like, why are we doing this now? Why not do it in the middle of the night when there's clearly...
Yeah.
Like, once you realize he's in the Salvatore house, why don't you just decide, let's do this 3 a.m. Who's going to be up? Whatever. Or, maybe we should wait, like, 5 minutes until Katherine's back upstairs.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's so weird.
My thought was, like... Then that could be it, but my thought was like they need to write it more of like a rush situation where it's like they can only do this spell like maybe at a certain time of day, or for a certain
once, maybe.
Yeah, you can only do it once. You can only do it for like a certain length of time. Like maybe you really can only sustain the spell for 3 minutes at a time. Yeah, and he's already eat up like 2 minutes of time. Like it's like a rush where it's like you've only got 45 seconds left to like pull out the dagger.
Yeah, that's smart. They definitely should have done that
because even if it was Elena and he got the dagger out, like. Elijah, it takes a long time for him to like reanimate when the dagger's out. Like I don't know how long it took him the last time because we didn't see, but we've seen before with originals where it can take like hours for them to like come back to life after being daggered. I guess you can bring it just down to they're desperate and they just want to do it. I don't know. Either way, I don't feel like this reads the best because you're like, it was so easy to not get stopped here, but they choose to do it while Katherine is standing right there. So like we said, Katherine like. Jumps over Elijah's body to, like, really hold the dagger down. And Luca, real Luca, is saying to his dad that, like, Elena is stronger than me. Like, she's fighting me and she's stronger than me. Which I was like, wouldn't regular Elena also be probably similar in strength to Luca? It's not like he's some weightlifter. Like,
I know. I thought that, too. I was like, well, Elena could be strong, but okay.
Yeah.
But she's obviously, Katherine is obviously, like, way more strong.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, Katherine is fighting him, and Luca tells Dr. Martin this, and Dr. Martin is like, that's not Elena, that's Katherine Pierce. Yeah. She's a vampire. You have to stake her.
Yeah, kill
Bro, what? This is so crazy.
They're always raising the antics with, like...
Yeah, like, I get Luca kind of has the advantage because he can't be seen. But as soon as they realized... It was Katherine. It's like, let's get out of here. It's not worth it. We at least know where he is. Let's call that a win.
You're going to break a chair and stake her and, like, whatever with nobody noticing? Because what ends up happening is, of course, he breaks a chair. There's, like, a wooden chair in the corner. He breaks it. He gets, like, a piece as, like, a stake and stabs Katherine in the chest, like, as she calls for Damon. She calls for Damon before he even stabs her. So I'm like, guys, the whole cavalry is showing up. Like, what do you think you're going to get done here? They keep barreling on. Damon makes it downstairs and, like, sees Katherine lying there with the, like, stake in her. It's not in her heart, obviously, but it's, like, a little lower.
Maybe, like, her stomach almost, yeah.
Yeah, and she points over to Elijah's body where, again, the dagger is being lifted, which, again, I have to say, this is just so silly because even if Luca got the dagger out right now, Damon is standing right there. Katherine's been stabbed. Like, he's just gonna, like, not notice if the dagger's out. He's not gonna check. Like,
also, yeah, like, what are they gonna do with the dagger when it's out?
Yeah.
I don't think Astral Luca, can Astral Luca, like, bring it with him, like, through the astral planes?
Yeah.
What's the plan? He's gonna throw it and, like, oh, I problem solved. Like,
yeah, because if he just pulls it out and, like, drops it and disappears, like, they'll just put it back in, or, like, Elijah, like, I don't know, it's gonna take a while for him to wake up anyway. Like, it's just such a poorly planned, I don't know. We don't know what's going on here.
Clearly.
So obviously, like, Damon is gonna stop the dagger from coming out, but unlike Katherine, he doesn't decide to just, like, you know, push it back in and fight for it. He goes straight for the flamethrower and starts burning Elijah's body and just the surrounding area because he doesn't know what's going on. He's just gonna start burning everything just to try to stop it. And so Stefan at this point obviously runs down to check, hearing the flamethrower. Yeah. And he asks what's going on, and Damon, like, says it's some kind of psychic witch attack. Get over there and do something about it. And so obviously Stefan goes to leave to go to the Martins to figure out what's going on. And we got cut back to the actual, like, Martins, and we see Luca's actual body, like, go up in flames, like, as if he were actually there. And he jumps up, and he's kind of running around, and he falls to the ground. And Jonas jumps up and grabs, like, a blanket and starts putting the flames out. And, you know, Luca is just, like, charred. Like, his whole
very badly
body is burnt. And Jonas starts, like, saying a spell over him. He grabs a book. He's clearly desperate to do anything he can to get him to wake up. Yeah. And it's so clear that Luca is dead. Like,
yeah, nothing is happening. He's unresponsive.
His whole body is, like,
covered in burns.
Major degree burns. Like, it's honestly kind of crazy how this moment is, like, so ridiculous and crazy that you're, like, shell-shocked for a moment, not even realizing, like, what's happening. And then it turns really tragic, like, really fast. Like, Jonas is, like, crying over his son's body, and he's saying, like, my son, and, like, I was tearing up. I know. Like, this is so sad.
Yeah, and him, Dr. Martin trying to do the spell to, like, bring him back, or maybe, like, heal the burns, not entirely sure. But and then it doesn't work. Oh, it's so sad. It also, like, it just didn't need to happen. This is what I'm saying.
It's so unnecessary.
When Luca was such wasted potential, it's like, if he had to die, fine. I get that. You don't want to have, like, 1,000 characters on the show. But, like, this was such a tragic ending. I hated this.
Well, see, I kind of like it because it is this tragic ending where it's like, as a story perspective, I think this was very interesting of them to do. Yes. But you hate it as a viewer because you're like, it's so painful. And I did like him just enough that it does hurt that he dies like this and in this way. And it's like, Damon didn't even mean to kill him. Damon didn't know it was happening.
I know.
Damon has no idea he killed him.
Exactly. And maybe wouldn't have. Like, he's just a, well, Damon, it's iffy, but, like.
Yeah, who knows with him.
Theoretically, he might not have just tried to kill Luca. He was just trying to stop the psychic witch attack.
Yeah, and I also wouldn't have thought that the fire would, like, burn his real body.
No, exactly.
Like, it's kind of crazy that that's the way it works, that the flames, like, channel to his real body and actually burn him. Like, I don't know, the magic could have done anything. So, yeah, again, crazy moment that turns into a really tragic moment super fast and is obviously going to change the entire trajectory of the rest of this episode. Like, this is going to greatly affect everybody and everything.
Yeah, for the worse.
Yeah, so from a truly tragic scene to a dance party at the grill, we're just going to go to girls' night now.
Whiplash.
Yeah, I literally got whiplash as I was watching this. I was starting to tear up watching, like, Jonas cry over Luca's body, and then suddenly it was like, oh, the live band at the grill. Yeah. I was like, guys, like, we're just going from that to this, but okay.
And then as soon as I saw the live grill, I was like, oh my god, this episode.
Yes.
I was like,
what a memorable episode.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah, they're so ridiculous for this because I cannot believe for girls' night they decided to go to the place where one of their boys that they're avoiding is employed and the other one lives because he has no home. Like, what was the plan here?
Yeah, what? They
like, avoid their guys and go where they always
are.
Yeah,
let's have a girls' night where all of our men will be.
Yeah,
sure.
So silly for that. So, of course, Caroline goes up to Matt and says hi to him, and he just walks past, like, ignoring her, just complete, like, diss. And Bonnie goes, well, that got awkward, like, really fast. Yeah. And Jenna goes up to the bar saying she wants a drink. Of course, Alaric immediately shows up. And
he lives at that bar,
Yeah, he's always at the bar. So he comes up to say hi to her. And Jenna gives him a speech about how, like, she can handle whatever it is that he's keeping from her. Like, last year she was a grad student who smoked too much, like, pot or whatever she says.
Yeah. And
now she's, like, a parent. Like, she's fully had to become a parent. So, like, she can handle it. And she, like, gets up and she walks away. Like, she gave her speech and she's just like, now it's your turn, buddy. It's the reverse of the Matt Caroline in a way.
Yeah.
And so the girls are encouraging Caroline to go for Matt. Bonnie is, like, really like, you got to do something. Like, just say how you feel. Yeah. And Caroline isn't sure because, like, she's just keeping so many secrets from him. So she's like, you know, should I really be doing this? And Lena says, like I was saying, like, she kind of points out how, like, Jenna and Alaric are in the exact same position. And she starts getting, like, really poetic about how they're, like, hurting the people they love by keeping secrets from them, how they're trying to protect them, but it's just doing worse. I was like,
girl, leave the grill. Yeah. Take Jenna home.
Yeah, go home right now and tell. I was like, it took, what, 37 episodes? How far in are we? Like, 30-something episodes to realize that keeping secrets to protect people actually can just end up hurting them anyway. Like, wow. Like, 40 episodes in, this is where we got.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And yet we just let it keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, the band stops after Bonnie and Elena are giving her this pep talk, Caroline, about this, like, spill her heart out. And she takes off her jacket and gives it to Elena and goes on stage. In the crowd, Jenna is immediately like, this is not going to end too well. And, like, Caroline gets on stage, she takes the mic, she starts saying, like, there's this boy who told me to, which, first of all, I have to already stop. It's a small town. Everyone knows it's Matt.
Yeah, everyone knows who you're talking about. Everyone knows who she is. Everyone knows this is Lizzie Forbes' daughter. Like, I was like, she's wild for this.
Yeah, everyone knows who she is, that Matt is the boy she's talking about. But anyway, she says, there's this boy who told me to tell him how I feel, but, like, just because I talk a lot, I can't always express myself, and on and on and on. And then she's like, but I can sing. Elena in the crowd is like, sing? Like, people are shocked. And then the band, the lead singer, tries to get Caroline off the stage, but Caroline just compels him to, you know, let her stay on the stage and live out her, like, rock star fantasy.
Rock star fantasy. Yeah.
And she, like, he asks, like, what song will it be? And she whispers something to him. And she starts singing Eternal Flame by the Bangles.
Yeah.
Which, like, love. But I almost feel like it's a weird choice for Caroline.
I thought this was the weirdest choice. I was ranting about this to producer Shay last night. I was like,
yeah, what?
This makes zero sense.
No.
I feel like Caroline would choose such, like, a more modern song. I can't think of a song that was, like, really out at the time, but I was like, Caroline feels like a Call Me Maybe. Caroline feels like a Katy Perry. She feels like a Bruno Mars. Like, the Bangles, I was like, good song, but also, like, makes zero sense for, like, a Caroline to be singing in this moment.
Exactly. That was my big problem with it. I was like, it's a good song. I like it. The cover is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Candace has a great voice.
Yes,
it is a good performance. And I love the blue lighting that they do in this scene. Like, it looks really good, like, kind of outlining her. Like, all in all, it is not a bad scene or anything, but it's just, like, weird song choice.
Yeah.
Weird thing to do, first of all. Although if I could compel somebody, like a random band, to let me sing with them, I would be. I 100% would be. Probably not in my hometown where everyone would know who I am.
No.
And not for a boy that everyone would know I'm singing to, but in general, yes.
Yeah. No, I know. I used to go I go back and forth on this scene still and, like, how cringe I think it is. I used to be like, team, it's very, very cringe. I can barely watch it.
Oh, when I was a teenager, I was like, I can't see this.
Exactly. I was, like, watching this when it first came out, I was like, I'm mortified for her. I have such secondhand embarrassment. I've come around now. I'm like, Candace King, has such an amazing voice that I'm like, okay, love. Fair. Like, she kills it. And I like the song. I like the cover. Like, even SO Stereo does, like, the good background music. And I like that. But I think I, like, have come back to thinking it's almost cringe because I'm like, this is about Matt Donovan.
Oh,
we're forgetting. God. She's singing this, like, song about her eternal flame. They're going to break up in, like, a minute. Her eternal flame is Mad Donovan. Are you kidding me?
She hasn't even met her eternal flame yet.
Like, come on. I don't know. It's but again, I go back and forth.
I know. Well, another moment in this that kind of is a little cringy to me is during the song. Elena's really smiling. Yeah. And she looks over at Matt to see like how he's reacting. And he looks over like at Elena, and she gives him like an encouraging nod, like a real like, yeah, this is real. Like, this is really like, she loves you. And he starts like nodding back. I was like, what was that? What? They're just nodding at each other. I was like, are we bringing back the Matt is just in love with Elena plot? Like, what is going on?
I have no idea. I have no idea. No words. Followed by more no words. Matt then proceeds to go on stage.
The Elena nod gave him everything he needed to know what he had to do.
Yeah, he literally got his like permission slip signed. He goes up on stage and starts making out with Caroline.
Yeah, he just grabs her because this is his place of employment. Like, I know, like, bro,
in front of the whole town.
Yeah, people start cheering. The cute part in the scene though that I do love is the girls start cheering. Jenna, I do like that. Yes, start cheering. I was like, we love girls supporting girls. We love girls being happy for their friend. But also, it's so weird.
Yeah, no, that. Yeah, them being happy for her and everything. Everyone cheering, sure. Oh my god, just the thought. I'm like. Yeah. It's just so bad. I just can't.
But now we jump back to the trauma.
Yeah.
Again, just the break for girls' night to just go back into, like, again, Jonas being, you know, the sadness has turned into rage over the loss of his son. And he starts collecting around the apartment Elena's things that they stole forever ago. Mm-hmm. And he starts working a spell. And Stefan arrives and he, like, breaks down the door. And he immediately sees Luca's dead body laying right there. And Jonas, like, comes out and he starts doing the aneurysm spell, so Stefan, like, falls down. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he says, he's dead, and now I have no one. And now you're about to find out exactly what that feels like. Mm-hmm. And he leaves, and as Jonas, like, leaves, Stefan kind of starts to be able to wake up again. And he sees all of Elena's stuff sitting right there, clearly indicating, like, Jonas is going for Elena. Like, obviously. If he didn't see the stuff, it was probably pretty obvious still, but that was, like, the dead giveaway.
Yeah, exactly.
So... really setting up the target for this episode now. Back at the Salvatore house, Damon comes into the living room. He's holding a blood bag, which he hands to Katherine. She's healing from her stab wound from earlier. And as she takes the blood bag, Damon drives a stake into her stomach. And Damon says that was for not telling him that the dagger would kill him. Yep. And Katherine, like, he tells Katherine that if she wants to help, then she needs to get talking. Like, she needs to start actually telling them some stuff because she's not doing anything. She's just, like, pestering them all.
Yeah, she's just lingering around here. And he calls her, like, an unwanted house guest. He called her that earlier.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, she's not really doing anything. And then she does eventually confess, like, John wanted you both dead, basically. John wants both you and Stefan out of the picture. And she made a deal with John. Deal was... either Katherine could stay and help them kill Klaus, or John would kill Stefan.
Yeah.
And
a deal, an ultimatum. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, Damon basically says, you know, what about me? And Katherine says, like, I mean, I could only keep one safe.
Yeah,
and of course I would.
Part of the deal is only one to choose.
Exactly. And of course, she picks Stefan.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, but this is also so dumb to me because she could have still told Damon when he went to visit her in the tomb that, like, John has this plan and that if he uses the dagger, it will kill him, so he should have somebody else do it. And then they could just kill John. Who cares?
I know.
I was like, John is not adding that much, so you guys can't just kill him.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, John is doing nothing for the plot. I mean, they have this vague idea that he's trying to do something with Isobel. But again, you and I don't know. We talked about it.
We watched it 1,000
no
times.
one knows.
I have no clue what John's up to.
No clue what he's trying to do. Also, it would have made a lot of sense for Katherine to, like, double cross him.
Yes. And also, the other thing is the factor for John is information. But now that Elena has all the Gilbert journals and they have access to all of that info, what does John know that they don't?
John does nothing for them, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't get why she wouldn't have just killed John for insulting her by saying that she had to choose like her life over. It's just weird.
Yeah, and also John was gonna kill Stefan if she left town. I'd love to see him try. Like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah. I know. I was like, how's he going to kill Stefan?
Yeah,
he failed
what?
the last time.
Yeah.
So I guess the takeaway here is that the John, Katherine, Isobel, like, partnership is not really a true partnership. It's more of these, like, weird deals and ultimatums. And, like, it's kind of a day-by-day situation.
Definitely.
It's not a real, like, partnership.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they'll stick around with each other as long as it's working.
Yeah, as long as it benefits them, I think is the takeaway.
Yeah. But back at the grill, the teens are still doing their teen things. Yeah. Elena, like, tries to go to the bathroom, and she walks in on Matt and Caroline making out in the bathroom because Matt was so touched and moved by Caroline's song. Which, does he even know that song, like, by the Bangles?
Probably not.
Doubtful.
He's like, I can't believe you wrote that for me.
No, literally, he's probably like, oh my god, she's gonna be famous someday.
Yeah, Matt is clueless is my thought, but
he's an idiot. But anyway, they're in there making out. Elena leaves, and then Bonnie tries to, like, go in, and Elena stops her, and they're just talking about that. And Elena says, if Matt and Caroline are happy, I'm happy. And Bonnie uses this as an opportunity. She has a good Rip a Diaries transition.
Oh, yeah, she does.
She's like, speaking of happy, would it freak you out if I started dating your brother?
She just drops that on her.
Yeah.
Like, that is a Rip a Diaries style transition of, like, I've got no smooth way to connect these two things, so I'm just going to say it.
I'm just going to say that. Yeah, so Bonnie gets there somehow, and Elena, like, had started to sort of walk away, and she does, like, a turn back, sort of, like, confused, because obviously she had no clue. Well, she would have if she was, like, paying attention.
Any attention to anyone other than her own storyline.
Exactly. But, yeah, she's sort of confused at first, and then, you know, Bonnie's, like, you know, worried that she's not going to react well, because Elena does kind of, like, turn around, and the audience, I think, is also supposed to be a little unsure how she'll react.
She doesn't look super, like, comfortable or happy about it at first. Like, her first kind of facial expressions. Yeah,
exactly. And Bonnie basically asks what she's thinking, and Elena says, like, Jeremy's had so much pain in his life, like, I'm just happy he has someone as amazing as you. So,
yeah, like, it turns into a big smile. Like, she's actually, by the end of it, you get the sense that she's actually really happy about it. Or it's like, I'm glad that, like, both of you could be together.
Yeah, exactly.
And they give a big hug, and Bonnie's smiling so big. Like, she's so happy. Like, I can't imagine how good she feels right there, because it's probably such a weight lifted off.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I'd be, like, stressed, and I'd be unable to sleep if that were me. I would be like, I don't feel so good.
I know.
But yeah, they get a happy hug out of it. And while they're hugging, Elena's phone rings, and she answers it, and it's Stefan, and she can't really hear him because it's too loud, so she, like, goes to the back so that she can hear him. And Bonnie notices Dr. Martin come in the door. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, dun, dun, dun. Not good.
Not good. Back at the Salvatore house, Damon is about to leave, and Katherine asks where he's going, and he reveals Luca Martin is dead, and Jonas is going after Elena. So obviously he's going to go help with that. And Katherine insists that she should also come help, and that she knows what they should do, and that Damon just needs to let her do it.
Yeah.
We cut away. Obviously, we'll see what happens later. So, back at the grill, Jonas tells Bonnie that Luca's dead and that his only shot at getting his daughter back is getting Elena. And so Bonnie is trying to stop him. She's kind of trying to talk him out of it. She obviously doesn't have her power, so, like, she has nothing to do here other than just be anything. Like, please stop.
Don't. Yeah.
So he starts using his power. He, like, makes the stage lights all, like, pop and, like, break. And so everyone's starting to get, like, freaked out. But, like, at that point, like, I don't know, a light just exploded. Not too crazy.
Yeah.
But then he makes the rest of the lights in the grill, like, explode and go out. But Bonnie still won't tell him where Elena is. He's still, like, kind of being, or she's still like, I don't know, I haven't seen her. You know, trying to, she's not going to give up Elena's position to this man who's clearly going to kidnap her. Cut to Caroline is still trying to make out with Matt in the bathroom, even though the power's gone out.
There are no lights in this place.
She's like, even better.
Yeah, honestly.
And then he's like, I'm still working. Like, I have to go help. Like,
which also, I'm still working. Just a little quick makeout break.
Yeah, I love being like, okay, I'm gonna go take my 15 in the bathroom, like, with my girlfriend.
Don't come in.
Yeah, I'll be back. All of our employees will run away from the bathroom. Good plan. But anyway, so he obviously does go leave to go help with the grill. And Caroline stays there for a second, and, like, pretty much immediately, Stefan and Elena come in, and they say, like, we have a problem. We have a plan. We just need to get Elena out of here. And so cut away. We'll see the plan later. The place is turning into chaos. Everyone is like rushing at the doors. Things are going crazy. I love that they've assigned Alaric to go get Jenna out.
I know.
He's like, we have to leave. She's like, well, where's Elena? He's like, don't worry, Stefan's got it. Like, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So love that the team is full synced. Everyone got their jobs and their tasks and they're executing.
Yeah, Damon delegated.
He did.
They like to imagine they have a little phone tree. Like,
they definitely do, actually. Like, I'm fully convinced there is like a hierarchy and people are in charge of making sure other people are in their places.
Yeah, they definitely are, because everyone was on it like immediately.
Yeah. And Jonas, he does some spell to make Bonnie pass out at this point, because Bonnie's the only one probably not really in the plan, because she's like with Jonas. Right now.
Yeah.
But he makes her pass out because she's like not stopping. But I feel like he's still like loyal to witches, so he's not gonna like hurt Bonnie or do anything to her in the way that he does to the rest of them.
Yeah.
So he makes her pass out. She falls to the ground. And then Matt sees that he's made Bonnie's passed out, and so he runs over to try to help her. People are rushing for the doors. People are trying to get out of there.
Because also Dr. Martin has lit the bar on fire. He's lit like
in flames.
Really? Fire, like it is chaos.
Yeah.
People are trying to put out the fire.
Yeah.
And then Matt like sees Bonnie and is like just trying to help Bonnie.
This is really not going to help with the girls' attempt to get more customers. This is really backfiring for them. Could you imagine if you were like, we have to have this like live band because we're trying to bring more people in, and then the place went up in flames.
Everyone ran out screaming.
Yeah, nobody's coming ever again. So anyway, this is not going well. Elena has come out of the bathroom with Stefan at this point, and she sees Dr. Martin, and she comes up to talk to him. Literally, why? I was like, this is the opposite of the plan, Elena. Why are you doing this? But she's like, I don't know. I feel like this, I don't know. Again, I'm trying to rationalize it, but I'm like, I actually have no rationale of why.
I don't know. She makes like one last plea. She apologizes about Luca and says she didn't mean for it to happen. And Elena offers that they can help him get Greta back, Dr. Martin's daughter.
Yeah. But
it's just weird. I don't know.
He obviously was going to take that up on that. I'm like, I feel like this just defeats the point of trying to sneak out. I don't know what she was trying to do here.
Yeah, he's already started to burn the grill to the ground. He's a little in too deep.
But the plan apparently that they came up with was to distract and like get Elena out of there. Was Caroline just comes out of nowhere and jumps on him. I was like, that was the plan, was Elena can go up and have her last moment to be like, please let us help you. No? Okay, Caroline, go.
Which also, if I were Caroline / Candace, I would be livid over this episode. First, they give her that big ass tablet.
Oh my god.
That's already messed up. Cut.
I forgot about the
tablet. Okay, we had to cut away for obvious reasons.
Lost it. We just had to cry laughing.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm probably still teary-eyed. Anyway, my point with this was, if I were Candace, I'd be pissed at this episode. First, I'm not even gonna say it, but you know what they made her hold in a previous scene.
Yeah.
Second, they make her do this song, this ballad for Matt Donovan. Come on. Third, when they have her jump on Dr. Martin, she just like springs out of the side.
It's honestly
it looks terrible.
Yeah,
it looks so bad.
It looks crazy the way she has to leap onto him. It's truly insane. Also, we'll only be adding to this list, I feel, the rest of this episode.
Oh, definitely.
But we'll get there. For now, Caroline jumps on Dr. Martin. Insane plan. Absolutely insane. And Elena and Stefan get out while this happens.
Yeah.
Talk obviously just does the aneurysm spell on Caroline to
Terrible
stop her
plan.
from biting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did work. I guess she got out, but maybe Elena didn't need to talk to him directly before leaving. I don't know.
That made no sense. Why didn't she just sneak out the back?
Yeah, it made no sense. So Matt rushes over to help Caroline because he sees her like screaming in pain on the ground, and he like comes to help her, and Jonas grabs a bottle because Matt's like pinned him like against the wall, and he like breaks a bottle and shoves a glass bottle into Matt's throat. I was like, He holds no... This is just a random employee at the grill. You're killing him?
True. What? True. Yeah, with a broken bottle to the neck.
Yeah, you didn't want to make anybody else, like, pass out? Like, you're going straight for the kill now?
Yeah, I was like, I guess that's grief, but, like...
Crazy. I guess he's in a rush, too, because he does this and immediately... Yeah. I just registered. I guess that's grief. Oh, yes. I regularly break glass bottles. It's just wild.
I mean, just the insanity of it. I'm like...
That is... Yes.
I guess you chalk it up to grief.
Yes, that is the immediate feelings of grief for sure.
I guess.
But anyway, he's in a rush. He has to storm out after Elena, so that might be why he like jumps to this.
That makes more sense than just grief.
So he's out the door. Caroline ends up having to heal Matt, obviously, because now she's good. The aneurysm spell is stopped, and she sees Matt choking to death on his own blood, and so she like runs over, and of course she has to bite her wrist and give him vampire blood to heal him. But he's like very awake and aware for all of this, and is obviously like terrified and doesn't know what's happening. So what a chaotic experience that all was at the grill. Yeah. Now for the Gilbert house, where it stays just as crazy.
Yeah, that wild sequence, it only continues to get more wild. Back at the Gilbert house, Bonnie and Jeremy have somehow gotten home, and Bonnie is saying that she's very upset about Luca's death, and Jeremy is like, after what he did to you, I'm not sad at all. Like, I don't feel bad.
What did he even really do that was that bad?
I was just saying, Jeremy, you just invaded his mind and, like, interrogated him with a spell the other day. Like, what has Luca really done to you? Like,
yeah, that was enough to call you even. Yeah. Dying was the price to pay?
I guess Dr. Martin, like, took her power, but... And I guess that's, like, you know, that's kind of not great, but, like, Luca did nothing. Luca didn't do anything to them.
Yeah,
in fact, Jeremy used him a lot.
It was just jealousy. That was where that was coming from. True. It's not good, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy red flagged that he was like, I don't feel bad at all that he died. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, crazy.
Anyway, finally, Stefan and Elena get back to the house, and Elena sort of goes upstairs while Stefan stays downstairs and asks Bonnie and Jeremy, because Bonnie and Jeremy were in the kitchen, and Stefan asks them, like, when did you guys get home? And they say just a few minutes ago. And Stefan asks if they checked the house. And they're like, why would we check the house?
I was dying. I was like, Jeremy, why would we check the house after someone's on the hunt for...
First of all, every day of their lives, they should be checking the house.
Yeah. They need to live in a one-bedroom apartment just to be sure.
Exactly. Yeah, just a big studio.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is Jeremy not filled in? What's going on? Why does he not know?
Such a weird response.
Yeah. So weird. But anyway, Elena, we saw her go upstairs and we see her get to like her bathroom that she shares with Jeremy, and she starts washing her hands and then looks up to the mirror and she sees Jonas appear behind her in the mirror, and we pan to him and we see him sort of pause. And then we pan back to Elena, and we see it's actually Katherine, and she's got the vampires.
Yeah.
And she bites Dr. Martin, like, clearly, like, killing him.
Yeah.
And everyone rushes upstairs, and Elena, or Katherine, like, licks her lips. And is like,
I love this shot.
Yeah. And is like, you're welcome. And the way she just, like, turns and says you're welcome, and, like, sort of, like, licks her teeth almost.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It's amazing. But they added like a slurping sound.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
It's kind of subtle. Like I don't know, maybe I was just hearing it, but like it really detracts from like a perfect moment. I'm like, it looks so good. Catherine's so badass and cool.
Yeah, I love Nina's acting in this scene specifically. It's very like the positions, like the body she uses is very like cat-like and like predatory, and like it's very interesting the way that as soon as she switches into Katherine mode, like her body language just like completely changes. I love it.
Yeah.
But of course Bonnie doesn't love it. She's like, you didn't have to kill him, and Catherine's like, yeah, we did have to kill him actually, which I agree. I think unfortunately they had to kill him.
They did. Yeah, he was kind of on a rampage.
I think he was kind of on a rampage. He like burns the girl to the ground, stabbed Matt in the neck with a glass bottle, gave everyone in the room an aneurysm spell.
He was a little on a rampage, yeah.
So anyway, Bonnie kneels down to like close his eyelids, you know, like she obviously still respects him and wants like, you know, peaceful, respectful death for him. But he animates and he grabs Bonnie and, you know, like grabs her head or something, and like she starts screaming, and Stefan jumps forward and snaps his neck, obviously killing him, and he drops to the ground, and everyone's just kind of like,
What?
And Katherine, again, with the good body language, she, like, puts her, like, foot on his neck, and she, like, stands with her, like, arms spread out in, like, a very attack pose, like, in a very ready for anything pose. Love her acting here. Downstairs, we see that Damon is telling Elena, like, this was all Katherine's idea.
Yeah.
Elena's like, that's not good. And Damon's like, definitely not good. Then everyone comes downstairs, and they say everything's taken care of. And Katherine gives Elena her necklace back. And, you know, Elena is just like, you guys need to get out of here before Jenna gets back. Katherine's like, that's all you have to say to me? Like, she obviously wants a thank you.
Yeah, of course.
But of course, they just agree, like, they both don't like each other. And, you know, like, they don't want to have to deal with each other. But obviously, they need each other, you know, to get at Klaus. Like, Elena has to be alive in order to, like, draw Klaus out. And obviously, they need Katherine for info on Klaus. So, like, they're kind of stuck here. This is a stalemate.
They're at a stalemate. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Outside, Alaric and Jenna are on the porch. It's just really awkward. He's trying to talk to her. She pretty much just gives him a good night.
Although I have to call out, when they get up on the porch, Jenna goes, thanks for getting me home. That was kind of crazy. Jenna, kind of crazy? Kind of crazy. The girl went up in flames. Lights were bursting. People were, like, trampling each other. You're like, that was kind of a weird night. Just a little unusual for Mystic Falls.
That was a little weird.
Slightly out of the normal. I was like, girl.
Yeah. Again, I have to assume, like, she's had a couple drinks. She's probably just like, okay.
She's like, I didn't really see anything.
Yeah, she's probably mostly also thinking about just the awkwardness with Alaric.
Yeah, that's like, true.
The girl burned down, who cares?
It is super Alaric. Like, or it is super Alaric. It is super awkward with Alaric. Because, like, you know, he says, like, there are things he can't tell her, you know, for various reasons. But, like, the thing he can tell her is that he loves her. And she's basically like, good night. And, like, goes inside. It's very awkward.
Yeah.
And Elena's still, like, right where they left her at the bottom of the stairs when Jenna gets in, being like, she clearly got in, like, 2 seconds after the last conversation ended. So.
Yeah, she just missed Katherine, it seems like. And, yeah, Elena and Jenna, like, kind of, like, exchange a look. And then they basically just agree, what a weird night. Like, that was weird.
Wouldn't it be an opportunity? Maybe you should tell her how weird the night actually was, Elena.
Yeah. What?
Literally right now. Be like, actually, we need to sit down and talk about what actually happened tonight, Jenna.
Exactly. This would be a great time. Literally, they're both alone, like, apparently. It seems like it. Like, just tell her
right now. What are you doing? Just letting her settle in? Like, literally sit her down right now and tell her what actually happened tonight. It's insane.
It makes no sense. Anyway,
upstairs.
Up in Jeremy's room, Bonnie and Jeremy are still hanging out, and Jeremy is, like, saying he's worried about Bonnie, like, because Jeremy is assuming, you know, Dr. Martin died basically before he could give Bonnie her powers back.
Yeah.
And Bonnie seems, like, okay with it, and Jeremy's, like, telling her, like, you're really in denial. But then Bonnie, like, kisses him, and then she makes the lights flicker and basically reveals she got her powers back.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when they, like, I guess spoke mind to mind, when Dr. Martin gave the powers back, he also gave Bonnie the knowledge on how to kill Klaus.
Yes. Dun, 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 for real.
Huge. Yeah.
Also, I thought in this moment she was channeling him, too. She puts, like, her hand over, like, his heart.
Yeah.
So it was, like, a nice little completion from the last episode, Date Night, where, like, she did get to channel him.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Cute.
I like that.
Yeah, all around a cute scene, and obviously with the big, like, plot, you know, moment of... Bonnie has her powers back, and she knows how to kill Klaus now. Yeah. They've got everything they need.
Yep.
Love.
Yeah, things are gonna pick up from here.
Yeah. Not picking up for another person, though, as much as she would want it to, is Katherine. She goes into Damon's bedroom, and she, like, jumps in bed with Damon. She's now in, like, a lingerie, like, nightgown and robe. She also went straight home from a day of pretending to be Elena and immediately curled her hair.
Yeah, she was like, I can't do this anymore.
I was like, girl, did you just go home and go straight in front of a mirror and start, like, every little piece curling? I'm like, I know that takes a long time.
Those big, huge curls, like, there's no way.
Yeah, that takes a minute.
Yeah.
Damon is laying in bed, and he's reading the Gilbert journals, and Damon is, like, speculating how the council could have found out that you know, Emily was a witch. Like, how did she possibly get outed, like, after all of the vampires had died? Katherine gives a look, which is an obvious indicator that Katherine turned her in.
Yep.
And Katherine says, like, she was a loose end and I like mine tied up. So, you know, obviously.
Kind of a snake, yeah.
Kind of a snake. Just outed, like, her best friend, I guess, at the moment, other than Pearl.
Yeah.
And led her to her death, but okay.
Yep.
And so they're getting like flirty after this. She like is leaning in for a kiss. He's trying to brush her off, but she's like getting really close. And, you know, it's kind of like a fake out moment where then he like knocks her over at the last second and he says, there are 6 other bedrooms in this house, Katherine. Go find one.
Yeah.
And like really pushes her off. If there's any room for doubt that Damon is like fully over Katherine, like he definitely is now. Like he's over Katherine. It's done.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like kind of surprised, I think. She like gives a little bit of like an annoyed look as she's getting up from the bed. And then also, like, as she's walking away, she sort of, like, turns back and gives it, like, a...
Yeah, it's very, like...
kind of annoyed and surprised look, which...
She's so used to getting her way.
She's so used to getting her way. Yeah, this is a good moment for Damon. I'm like, I'm glad he got this little, like...
Yeah, she deserves that.
Yeah, like, he kind of got a little chance to snub her.
Yeah.
But crazier things happening. Back at Caroline's house, Matt, like, comes back to life. Like, I guess I didn't realize, like... how down for the count he really was. I guess he got stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
But the way he woke up, I had a moment. I was like, it almost feels like he's about to turn into a vampire. Like if he
or like he had the Gilbert ring on or something. It's a little weird.
Yeah, but he like reanimates basically. And Caroline is just sitting there in the corner in a chair.
Yeah, just like watching him.
Which is just like weird. But yeah, I mean, she's obviously making sure he's okay. And Matt immediately is like, what happened? I drank your blood. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And Caroline tries to explain to him that her blood healed him. And Matt is like, how is that possible? What are you talking about? And Caroline is like, that's what vampire blood does. And then she basically reveals, you know, I'm a vampire. And Matt like doesn't really fully believe Caroline at first. But he does start backing away. So,
he's not taking it well.
Yeah, he's not taking it well. He's sort of in disbelief, but he's still scared. Like, he's backing away. And this is going on. Caroline is trying to talk to him and be like, but it'll be fine because we love each other. Like, we'll still stay together.
Yeah.
And then...
she is just barreling forward. She's like, I'll tell you everything you want to know.
She's wild for just trying to embrace this in the moment. I mean, I guess they had their moment earlier, but, like... oh my God, what a way to like have to spring this on him. But anyway, the cogs are turning in Matt's mind and he's like, wait, Vicky, when she was in the hospital, if you remember from like what episode 6?
Season 1, episode 2.
Oh, 2. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. It was even before she got turned. Yeah. Vicky in the hospital was told Matt before Damon compelled her that there was a vampire that attacked her. And Matt is remembering this. He realizes everything Vicky said was true. And he immediately starts freaking out. And he thinks Caroline had something to do with it. And he's like screaming at Caroline, like, what did you do to her? He's freaking out. He's like
Caroline
screaming in her face.
No idea how traumatic this was going to be for Matt.
Yeah.
Like, opening an old wound.
I feel like she should have. Caroline must know about Vicky, right? Like, she must know that's what happened.
She would know, but she probably didn't know that Matt knew any of that. Nobody knows
that's true.
Vicky
no one
told him that it was a vampire. I guess he told Elena, but it's not like Elena would have thought to tell anybody else after that. Like, it kind of was just a passing thing.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So, yeah, Caroline had really no clue how badly this was going to turn out. He's freaking out. Matt like tries to leave and Caroline stops him.
She vamp speeds.
Yeah, she vamp speeds. Yeah, in front of him, and he like does a double take, and he's like crying and screaming at her, and he like shoves her at one point.
Yeah, he's really like freaking out, and she's just screaming like, "Calm down!" Like, stop.
Yeah, exactly.
She's not going well.
Yeah. It's not really going well, and it pretty much just gets left there. Like,
yeah, I don't know how this even ends because we don't pick up back at this like in the next. We'll pick up with the storyline, but not in this moment. End this night? Caroline's just like, okay, go home and sleep it off. Like,
I guess that's what we're supposed to assume. Like, because the whole next episode, Caroline like is looking for Matt.
Yeah,
she just lets. I mean, maybe she does let him go because he's clearly flipping out.
Yeah,
but like. I don't know. It seems weird that she would just let him go.
We're going to have a lot to say about these two in the next one. It really is just crazy. This whole storyline does not go. It's such a flip of, Stefan and Elena, which is like kind of the last time we saw someone tell their significant other that they're a vampire. Yeah. So, big difference. I mean, Elena freaked out too, but this is like way worse.
This is, well, because Matt, like you said, he like had all that trauma about Vicky. Like, Caroline couldn't have known, but it's not great.
Other people who should have known, should have done some things differently. At the Gilbert house, Elena and Jenna are in the kitchen. They start talking. Jenna's eating ice cream, and Elena, like, joins her.
Yeah.
I was screaming at my TV. I was like, Elena, you're sitting there eating ice cream together, girl bonding. Tell her right now.
Come on.
Like, immediately, you need to start telling her. Elena, to be fair, does not even really get a second to do that because this scene lasts all of like 30 seconds before the doorbell rings.
Yeah.
So the doorbell rings. Jenna gets up to answer it. She goes to the door. And who's at the door but Isobel? It's, of course, a slow reveal as Elena, like, walks out there and she sees Isobel. And, it's not good. It's not looking good.
Yeah. And, of course, Jenna doesn't know as soon as we do that it's Isobel. But Isobel says, like, hi, you must be Jenna. And, like, as Elena's rounding the corner, she says, I'm Elena's mother.
Yeah.
And Jenna sort of, like, looks to Elena. And Elena goes, like, Isobel.
Yeah. Like, Jenna might have had a thought because she'd seen the pictures of Isobel as, like, a teenager that she gave to Elena.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm sure it didn't, like, immediately
It definitely didn't immediately register.
But Isobel makes sure that it does. So,
yeah.
Not looking too good. And that's obviously our setup for the whole next episode.
Yeah.
It's all going to be... We only get 2 episodes of Isobel, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
But obviously the next one is like a heavy hitter Isobel episode.
Yeah, that could be like a 3-hour episode of the podcast. There's a lot to be to Isobel.
Oh, yeah. If you guys would listen to it, we could talk for 3 hours about Isobel.
We definitely could.
There's so much to be said. But that is it for this episode.
Yeah, for now, we don't really need to say too much about her. Yeah. So... Yeah, for this episode, in our in memoriam section, we have
both
Luca.
Of the Martins.
Yeah, both of the Martins. Yeah, Luca was killed by Damon unwittingly.
Yeah, unknowingly via flamethrower.
Via flame. Terrible.
Yeah, bad death.
And then Jonas was killed by Stefan. Stefan, like, breaks his neck in the end.
Yeah.
Like, Katherine
attempted murder, but...
Yeah, Katherine brings him to the brink, but Stefan goes for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anyone died at the grill, although they very well could have. But presumably no. So for our out-of-pocket things we would have done differently, I feel like it's the thing I already talked at length about, which is the Katherine, like, you know, having Luca pull out the dagger while Katherine was right there.
Yeah.
Just the whole way that the Martins, like, did that spell in that scenario. I think it's like you said, like, why would they not wait until later at the night? And it's kind of the two-sided thing where it's like, character-wise, would have done it differently, but also writer-wise, I'm like, let's have written something in there that they have to do it at a certain time, that it has to happen a certain way, that there's a certain time limit. Like, there just wasn't enough structure around that for me to be like, this has to happen in this way at this exact time. It felt a little too just, like, rushed and, like, crazy that they were like, you're just jumping in doing this with no plan? Like, what?
Yeah, I kind of like that one. I think either way we're going to have to go with, like, a would have done differently as the writers, because the only thought I had was I would have done everything I did for Caroline in this episode differently.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't really like this that much.
I like some of it. I think Candace has such a good voice. It's worth utilizing. And
that's true.
I think it's an interesting storyline for Caroline because we like her now. So it's, like, interesting to put her through sort of a challenging situation. Whereas I think the Martins just could have been so much better. Yeah,
I'm down to go with the Martins just because I've been saying this all season. Like, I feel like there was so much wasted potential. And yeah, I think this one big chance you had to give them, like, this really time pressured situation. It's like, feels like it needlessly resulted in Luca and Dr. Martin's death in the end. So, like,
although it is a good plot line of them dying, I just wish that, like, the fact that led to that should have been more pressurized. It should have been more like maybe they'd made some deal with Elijah that if he died, they would die within, like, there should have been some restrictions around there that made things happen in that way. But,
that's kind of fun. I like that. Yeah, we can go with, like, the Martins plot, their wrap up.
The Martins plot and downfall. That's what I would have done just a little differently.
Yeah.
Good, like just that. It needed some requirements around it.
Yeah, definitely. For quote for this episode, I don't know. There weren't, like, a ton of quotes that really stood out to me. I don't know. There's something.
The one iconic one for me is, of course, Katherine, like I already mentioned, of, like, we want the same thing, and I always get what I want.
I did really like that. That definitely stands out in my mind.
Yeah, that's such an iconic quote. And the one that I personally really heavily relate to is Caroline, when she says, just because I talk a lot doesn't mean I always know what I'm actually talking about. I was like, that sums up the Ripper Diaries. Just because I talk a lot doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about. We're just talking.
Yeah, I do like both of those. I kind of want to go with Katherine's. I feel like
it's so iconic.
It's just so iconic. It's so true. Yeah,
I know. It feels like it has to be Katherine.
Yeah, it's a good Katherine episode too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And you know I always get what I want.
Yeah.
So good.
Love that.
Then we've got the songs of the episode. I have a few songs. I think like we have to give a shout out to Eternal Flame.
That's what I was thinking.
My winner, which first of all, you know, we can't put the cover in like the playlist, so it's not the winner, but we got to give her Rockstar Moment a shout out.
Yeah, of course. I know. I almost would consider making it the song, but it's not on Spotify. Not the Candace, Candace version. And I did like listen to the Bangles version just to like think about it, and I was like, this is so not the vibe.
No, I like that song, but it's just not Vampire Diaries.
Exactly.
Like,
it doesn't speak Vampire Diaries to
when
me.
I listen to like Vampire Diaries playlist and that one comes on, I'm like, when did this play? Was it like a Decade Dance? And then I look and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a cover. It's
it literally feels like it should be
a Decade Dance.
Like a Decade Dance or something. It's weird.
So for other songs, I have, how many do you have? Do you have one?
I just have one.
Okay. I have two, same band. I'm assuming you gave this band a shout out, the SO Stereo band moment. I did like Hello Miss Heels, the TVD mix that they have when Caroline and Matt are making out in the bathroom. I wanted to mention that as like a little shout out moment.
Yeah.
But I felt like the winner was pretty clear.
Yeah, I think we have the same winner. I liked I'll Take the Bullet by SO Stereo, of course. Yeah, it plays when they first like all arrive at the grill, and I feel like it really stands out in my mind. I'm like,
Me too.
That's definitely in the Vampire Diaries. Like I would know upon like hearing it randomly. I'd be like,
that
was in the Vampire Diaries.
I thought the same thing, and it is a Vampire Diaries like mix of the song. And I felt like it stood out. I felt like it was a great song. I felt like it was so Vampire Diaries coded. Like it just felt like the show. So to me, it was a clear winner.
Yeah, that's what I had for winner too. So
easy.
Love when we just agree. We can get the outro done. Yeah,
so easy. So we will be adding to our playlist of all the best songs of every episode, I'll Take That Bullet by SO Stereo. And you can find that playlist linked in all of our various bios and descriptions, as well as our Instagram and our TikTok, where we post fun clips, various like memes, other things. And you can interact with everybody, share your theories on episodes. We always love doing that.
Definitely.
You can find those in our bio.
Yeah, and you can listen to the podcast on Instagram, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Good luck on Instagram. That's not going to work.
No. And you can watch the video version on YouTube, which we always love reading all of your comments on YouTube, too. Yeah. So definitely comment your theories, thoughts, whatever. Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, we love it. So excited for the next one, too. Episode 17.
Yes. Yeah, join us next week, wherever you want to listen, for Season 2, Episode 17, Know Thy Enemy. This is the big Isobel episode of this season and her last.
And the big Klaus arrival.
Yes. And in the last few moments, we get some Klaus. So
yeah,
I feel like this is probably the moment a lot of you have been waiting for. For me, it was Elijah, but
but
now we've had him for a while. It's like, what's the next big thing?
Yeah, Elijah was the first one I was waiting for, just because I was waiting for originals. But Klaus is the true like herald of that storyline, like really, really kicking off. True. And I will say, I've been saying Elijah's my favorite character, and he's one of my favorite characters. But Joseph Morgan as Klaus is my favorite,
iconic,
favorite. So I'm dying inside.
I'm so excited. I'm like, I want to watch the episode right now.
I would.
Yeah, I might. Maybe we will. We'll see.
Anyway, thanks for watching and or listening to this one. Hope we see you next week.
Bye.